While it might be a typical cliche to start a speech with a quote, Benjamin Franklin was not a typical man. He once said, "Tell me and I forget. Teach me and I remember. Involve me and I learn." That quote perfectly sums up our experience at Roger Williams University. When I first came for my tour over 4 years ago, I saw a beautiful view and a lot of delicious food. Also a nuclear power plant, but we'll ignore that one for now. While it's impossible to argue that these things weren't a big part of the reason that I made my original decision to come here, it is also impossible to say that it wasn't so much more. Just as Franklin might say, it was not necessarily the learning at Roger Williams that left me happy to have been here, but the experiences, the involvement. I actually came here for marine biology. I think I was probably suckered in by a combination of Finding Nemo and the Titanic, but after a semester of grinding chemistry work and a lot of soul searching, I wound up deciding that business, of all things, was my field. I can tell you one thing, saying, "I'm a businessman, Mom," to a family of artists was an interesting experience. Regardless of the family and my ultimate decision, how many schools will realistically allow you to graduate even after having switched your major at the end of sophomore year? I myself only decided at the deadline, and that only thanks to the 15th email from John King. Contrary to popular belief, the Career Center can actually offer some great advice. The experimentation we are allotted here is really not something to be taken for granted. But even more impressive than that were those experiences. The way that Roger Williams involves you is not something you can expect anywhere else. Some of those are experiences we might choose to forget, like the 8th time in a row your CETA roommate blares Sandstorm at 3 in the morning, but the majority of our experiences here were incredible. I mean, our football team is undefeated. Our sailing team is amazing, or, so I've been told, and the academic experiences are just fantastic. I mean, take a look at how the business program ropes you into the major. The very first class is one where you start a hypothetical company. You play the Shark Tank game, solving real-world problems and realizing that this is something that can be done. Starting a business is not just for wealthy entrepreneurs or lucky geniuses, but also for the typical poor college student as well. And this isn't unique to business. My own roommate, an engineer, is making a human-powered vehicle, also known as a bike, from scratch to be entered into a competition all the way in California. I was enamored by this idea, and with a little drive and motivation, started to pursue my own company. The thing is, people began to notice this, and I don't mean that a roommate or two thought it was a cool idea. I mean that I had an unbelievable amount of support from faculty and staff. I started a club here, and within a few weeks we had over 100 members, and a year later we have a $2,000 budget in IT support. I was asked to do some community service, well, forced to do some community service, but I actually managed to make a really great relationship with a local school teacher and his students. I finally decided to really do it, and to start my own company, and now I have 3 faculty who keep me under constant advisement, and 2 different classes where my final project is simply a chunk of the business. That is what Roger Williams affords you. Sure, we have some delicious food, and sure, we have a beautiful view of the bay, and sure, we have a mascot who nobody actually knows what he looks like, but when you dissect the school, what you find is a pool of resources that are simply invaluable. No matter what your dream is, or what your major is, not only can you do things here that you might never have expected to be able to do, but you have somebody willing to dedicate their time to help you do it, even if the bursar insists that you owe them $50 for a flag on the wall. Commencement is a special occasion. We are celebrating our time here and remembering a lot of really great things, but also looking forward. I mean, we went from being scared little freshmen waiting at the wrong time to get on the RIPTA for Providence to slightly larger seniors waiting at the wrong time to get on the shuttle back from the bar. I'm personally moving to California to develop brain training technology after graduation. I know people who are designing buildings and others who will be teaching the next generation of Americans, but ultimately, every one of you has the opportunity to put yourself on the map. Roger Williams gave you the social skills, the confidence, and the experience to secure that dream job. Maybe they had you do community service. Maybe they pushed you into an internship. But one way or another, even if it was just a meaningful teacher, it gave you that one experience, that one involvement that made you just uncomfortable enough to want to do something great. Now is the time to do that thing. And whatever it is, I personally can't wait to hear about it. Thank you.